Raise your hand if you think you have a better memory than most people. How much of a factor do you think that is in acquiring a new language?
But it's specific. It's specific to languages. If you asked my wife if I had a good memory for where my car keys are and stuff like that, she would laugh out loud. But if you ask me, I can remember words from the Haisla language, which is an Indian language, a native Aboriginal language that was spoken in Kitimat, in a city where I lived up in northern British Columbia. I can remember words from that language from 31 years ago. I can remember where I heard them. I can remember the people who taught them to me. But in terms of memory, remembering how to do math that I learned in high school, not at all.
It's probably part of the efficiency you were talking about, because
yes.
you may have seen words not necessarily in your textbook or in your class, and still you remember them. You get things from other places and you remember them.
Steve, you raised an interesting point. Go ahead, please. No, you go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, with regard to memory, I think I remember things better than most people. I did better in class than others, some others. Like there was always a group of us that did quite well, so we remembered history dates, we remembered all the different stuff that we were learning, we remembered better than others. But I don't think we rely so much on memory. If I look up a word in the dictionary, as soon as I close the dictionary, I've forgotten the meaning right away. And everything we learn in language, we forget. And so I believe that it's a matter of gradually the brain becomes accustomed to things. So memory is a factor. But again, it's not the big factor. I think it's more, again, attitude and the amount of time you put in. Those are the two elements, and the ability to notice.
But you said something that was so fascinating when we spoke earlier, and that was about, and we're going to get to this more later.
I've forgotten what it was.
Yeah. But you have this ability to reactivate languages. If that's not drawing on memory, what is it?
It's not memory. I feel that I'll give you an example. I learned Chinese. I went to Japan, lived there for 9 years, hardly did any Chinese. When I got back to Chinese, my Chinese was better.
How?
I got in a car, your driver picked me up, he was Chinese. I'd been reading Russian on the plane, because what happens is that these languages continue to grow, and as you're learning more languages, you are developing your language capability all the time. And so I am much better.
But if you're not using Mandarin for 5 years, how can that language continue to grow if you're not using it?
It just does. I don't know why, but it does.
I believe I know how. It goes to the passive register and it stays there until you are ready to re-access it. And at any one time in the future, even if you don't practice that language, you're able to recognize but not recall. Not actively recall, but you're able to recognize everything and anything that is told you or spoken to you. In terms of the memory, I think that it's not... All of the points that were made are correct. However, it's just a bit more complex and it's age dependent.